All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy days to join our webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about Nexudus's NexKiosk app for tablets and some key considerations around it, how it works, how to use it, why we developed it, and what kind of value it can bring to your space. So some quick introductions. I'm Damian. I'm one of the customer success managers for Nexudus. I'm from Ireland, but have lived in London, Japan, and now the US. So I'm aware my accent is a bit muddled up. My husband calls it half Guinness, half Starbucks, which I don't think is a compliment, but I will let you decide. I'm based in the great city of Chicago, Illinois, where myself and my colleagues form Nexudus's North American team. I would love to hear where in the world you're viewing from. So while we're getting started, if you'd like to drop your location in the chat box, it would be interesting to see who has the most inconvenient time zone. Some of you may have spoken with me directly before. If not, it's a pleasure to connect with you now. Joining me today is my colleague Matty, our wonderful UX designer at Nexudus. Say hi, Matty.
Hi, everyone.
Happy 7th anniversary with Nexudus, Matty. I know because we started at roughly the same time, right?
Yeah, happy 7th to you as well.
Yeah, our next anniversary. Look at us.
So,
Maddie is based at our London HQ and is going to be running through a demo of NexKiosk and helping to answer some questions you may have about the app and how it works. So before we begin, a little bit of housekeeping. We're aiming to keep this at around 20 to 30 minutes, so please try and stay awake. If you have me open in a separate tab while you're working on something else, don't worry, this is a safe space. We've all done it, no judgment. If you have any questions about anything we covered today, feel free to drop them in the Q&A section, not the chat, please. There'll always be one, don't let it be you. We do have some moderators who will be collating those and we'll answer a few at the end. And of course, if you think of something later or want to follow up, you can always email our team at support@nexudus.com. Lastly, this webinar is recorded, so if you need to drop off early, you just want to forward this to your colleague, you want to check out my amazing mustache again, no problem. You'll be able to watch it back at your leisure to review the app details. Okay, that's enough of me. Let's see where people are from in the chat. We have Chelmsford, Essex, Flint, Michigan, Madrid, two from Chicago, New York, London calling, Glasgow, Munich. Wow. Thank you guys. Really appreciate you joining. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's dig into NexKiosk. So in a nutshell, NexKiosk is a point of sales app for in-person sales in your space. As an operator, you likely need to facilitate in-person sales to your members or walk-in customers, things like food and beverage, day passes, merchandise, or anything else that you happen to sell as a one-off. Of course, customers can buy products online from the member portal, or you can sell it directly to them from the admin panel. But NexKiosk creates an easy-to-use interface to remove that friction when you're face-to-face and get the sale done ASAP. We hear it from you and we listen. Customers increasingly are demanding their experience to be instant or next to instant. We all have this TikTok brain now, and we all just want to get things done immediately. We also hear and know that community managers are the hardest working group of folks out there who are being pulled in a million different directions. So having an app that can facilitate speedy sales allows them to do the real community work without dealing with the checkout line at the front desk. So what are the benefits? This is a really easy way to generate a new revenue stream with minimal maintenance required. You just need a tablet on the app. You can use a card reader, but not necessarily. More on that later. If you're currently using your own points of sale system or third-party system, you'll know the pain of reconciling sales against invoices and getting that revenue included in your reporting that you then provide to your leadership. With NexKiosk being firmly set within the Nexudus ecosystem, those sales are recorded in Nexudus and the sales data feeds directly into your reporting. One less headache. And there are plenty of settings you can use to configure the app to fit within your model. Things like self-service, paying later, discount codes. There's a lot of possible customization. So what is required? A tablet running Apple iPad OS or Android. The exact specs are shown on screen. They are also available on our knowledge base. The tablet must be able to access either the Apple or Android app stores, which would rule out Amazon Fire tablets, for example. There are two modes to NexKiosk. Matty, can you start by telling us about the two modes?
Yeah, of course. So we designed this app with two different use cases in view. First, we have the POS mode, which is effectively for operators with staffed cafes, shops, or restaurants, or really anything that is effectively a staffed experience where somebody's actually selling the product and completing the purchase on behalf of the customer. The benefit here is, as Damian mentioned, we are integrated into Nexus. So it feels like it's a hotel-like experience for billing. The customer can come, they can provide their member details, and they can be charged their monthly bill as opposed to pay by card. On the flip side of that, if you want to collect immediate payment, you can do that with a card reader as well. And we actually do integrate with manual payments. So you could say have your own card reader that's not connected to Nexudus and still mark it as paid via card on the app itself. And then the other mode that we have is a completely different experience and a little bit of the flip side of the staffed experience, which is end user, meaning the coworker is 100% self-servicing. They are physically purchasing the item. This is geared more towards honesty bar or something like that. It also gives you the freedom to potentially sell digital products on site. So if you want to sell passes, credit bundles, anything like that, they can do so directly from the tablet. They can pay, again, either adding it to their monthly bill or through a card reader that you've connected to the payment to the app. So those are the two different modes and the two different use cases we envision when we design the app.
Awesome. For the visual people like myself, can we see how it works?
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start sharing a tablet. Bear with me just a second while I get that set up. Okay, so you should be seeing my screen now.
Yep.
I'm going to try and walk you through this as if taking you through a little bit of a journey, let's say. So the idea here is I'm an operator. I've decided that I'm going to start using NexKiosk in my space. So the first thing that I would do is from my admin side, the admin panel, I would go into my inventory section. I would go to the products, select the products that I want. I would check the box on those products. On the bulk menu, I would click add to NexKiosk inventory, and that would automatically send all those products into my NexKiosk. So when you log in, you select the mode, all those products are going to be present on the app, and you can already start selling. So in this scenario, I've already done that. I've already gone to my admin panel. I've got that set up. I'm now actually at the till of my cafe, and we're going to have our first customer arrive. So actually, before they arrive, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the mode. And for this, I'm going to actually select POS. That's where we're going to start with in our journey. I'm going to connect our Stripe card reader. So bear with me here while that's getting connected. Um, Once that's connected, I'm now in the sales environment. So I have a customer arriving. Arit is his name. He's looking for a something to drink to quench his thirst. So I open up the customer sale. I can search for the customer. In this case, they're starred, but let's go ahead and search for them anyway, just to show how that would work. I select Arit, and now I actually see he's actually part of a team that has a paying member. I asked him if snacks and beverages are something that are covered by the team. He says reluctantly that it's not, and he's actually going to have to foot the bill himself. So I select that each to be the actual paying customer for this purchase. Click confirm, and we're ready to go. So if I needed to change that for any reason, I can always go back to edit and select it to go to the paying customer. But in this case, I'm confident that it actually should be Eddie paying. So he's looking for a soda, just a little caffeine to pick me up in the middle of the afternoon. I'll select that. I click on checkout, and I have two options here. The first is charge to my account, the second pay now. To make the experience a little bit smoother, he just wants to charge to his account and he'll pay it at a later date. So that's it. Adi is done. I can bid him farewell. He can go on his way. He has his drink. the purchase is complete and it's in his account ready to be billed when the next billing cycle goes through. Now, as Arit leaves, I actually, because it's a cafe and it's busy, I get a delivery of some drinks. So I can actually go into the products, and let's say I had 100 sodas that were delivered, which is great because Arit just took the last one. I can go ahead, I can adjust the stock. I can do the same. Let's say there was 50 juices that were delivered as well. I can adjust the stock, making it much easier for the management of stock directly from the app itself. So once I'm done with the inventory management, I actually have another customer come up. I can see that they're in a hurry. They quickly ask for a sparkling water. So I'm not even going to ask whether or not they want to put in their account. I'm just going to hit quick sale. They're looking for a sparkling water. So I select the sparkling water. Um, I go to checkout, and at this point, because we're using guest checkout, there is no actual account for me to drop that bill into to be billed at a later time. So the only possibility to pay here is using the card reader. So I'll go ahead, I'll click pay now. It's connecting to the card reader. On my side, I tap the card reader, and you can see it takes you through the payment process. Once the payment is successful, I get the little transaction successful screen, and I'm done. So there is, yeah, there's a couple of different ways that you can approach this. You can either do this from the customer experience, from the customer side, where they're actually coming and giving you their details. We've also introduced this quick sale mode to expedite the process if somebody just wants to pay. It's also an easier way to do sales for external users, which I know is something that you guys have asked in the past. Now, continuing our little journey, as I finish the sales for the sparkling water, front of house comes over with a customer who's actually defaulted on a bill. It's been sitting there, it's way past due, and the customer wants to rectify that and complete payment. So they actually bring the customer over to me. I can go ahead and I can search for Tanuki. Let's say that's the person that I'm looking for here. So I search Tanuki. And you can see here, I have a little bit of information. I can always confirm any details I need. I can also see their purchase history just to make it a little bit easier. You can also remove and add purchases from here if you need. But in this case, what I'm interested in is actually paying a invoice that they've defaulted on. So I go to invoices. I see that invoice 44 is the one that he's actually looking to pay. I pull that up. I click pay, and I can actually do it directly from the card reader. So again, on my side, I'm using a test terminal, but I complete the payment by tapping or inserting the card. The payments process, and you can see that the payment is successful for this invoice. Invoice 44 now shows as paid. So this is an interesting use case as well that some of you guys have asked for us. We recently made an update to support that so that you can effectively take payment for any outstanding invoices directly from the NexKiosk app. The one thing that I will mention is in order for you to be able to accomplish this, you actually do have to go to the settings on the admin panel. Under settings, companion apps, and then NexKiosk, there's an option to display invoices created on the admin side. By default, the NexKiosk app is only going to show invoices generated by NexKiosk sales. So if you want to show all invoices generated by the system, you do have to go in and change that setting. So that kind of completes our journey through the POS system. Um, there are a couple of other things here that I won't get into, but I also want to give you guys a little bit of an experience of what it would look like for somebody that's experiencing the kiosk side. So what we refer to as the honesty bar, that the user would be doing a complete self-service through. So I'm just getting something else set up here because this does take a couple of devices for me to complete, but I'll select the kiosk mode because I'm now switching from POS to kiosk. In this scenario, again, I'm going to connect my Stripe reader here. Once that is complete, we'll continue. And this is a slightly different experience from the get-go. You can see here that I no longer have a settings page. In order for me to leave this experience, an admin has to log out. The idea is that this is kind of locked to the kiosk experience. Again, because it is completely self-service, we don't want somebody having access to that POS side. So when you select the kiosk mode, it locks into that mode. If you want to leave that, you have to go out of, by logging out as an admin. So here, I'll walk you through a second scenario. So I'm a coworker. I have a hot desk at next door neighbor. Hopefully, you guys get that joke. And it's late. I'm flagging a little bit, and I need a little pick me up. So I see the honesty bar that's across the room. There's some crisps that are calling my name. So I walk over. Um, I pick up the crisp. Unfortunately, my conscience kind of pushes me towards the fruit salad. So I change my mind and I go for the fruit salad. Um, in order for me to kind of initiate the experience here, what we do is we have a few different ways to log into the app or as a user. So if I select member, I'm prompted to log in. Now, in the Passport app, there's a QR code that we've introduced to expedite authentication across multiple of our companion apps. So basically, what I do is I pull up my little app here on Passport, I scan my QR code, and now I'm logged in as Timothy Blake. I can go in, I can select my snacks. I go to fruit salad because healthy option. And you can see here, if I have the card reader connected, I can pay by card. I can also charge it to my account. In this case, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm just going to charge it to my account for to make it a little bit easier. And that's it. I've completed the purchase. You can see here it resets back to the home page. You also do have the guest experience here where you don't necessarily have to log in order to complete a purchase. The caveat here being as well, the only payment option available in guest mode is going to be through a card reader because there's no actual account for us to drop that those charges and that invoice into. So this would essentially be the experience for kiosk mode. Again, I want to reiterate that this doesn't have to be just for physical items. You can bring up digital products that have benefits embedded in them. So if you want to sell a booking credit bundle or a printing credit bundle or anything of that nature through the app, you could potentially do that and make it a little bit easier on the customer so that they can pay by card when completing that purchase. So this gives you a little bit of a sense of how both of these different modes work. Hopefully, it also gets you a bit excited to try it. Damian's actually going to cover a little bit more about that part. So I'm going to hand back to him so he can walk us through some more details and how you can get started in trying the app.
Thank you, Maddie. So now that we've walked through the key features and seen NexKiosk in action, let's take a look at how this translates into pricing. It's really simple. NexKiosk is $125, pounds or euro, depending on the currency you pay your subscription in, for one location, and then 25 for each additional location. So that would be 150 for two, 175 for three, etc. All that said, because you've made it this far, we would love to offer you a free trial to try it out for yourselves in your spaces and see how well it works for you. For existing Nexudus customers, if you reach out to us before the end of November, you can try NexKiosk for free. Just email support@nexudus.com and we can get that set up for you. Okay. I think it's time we take some questions, Maddie. Okay. First question. What is your skincare routine? Oh my God, thank you so much for asking. But that would take up a whole webinar in and of itself. For kiosk mode, if I am a guest wanting to pay by card, can I do this on the tablet like Apple Pay? Or would we need a separate card reader connected to the tablet in order to take that payment? What do you think, Maddie?
So at the moment, we don't connect to a built-in checkout experience. So it does have to be through some sort of card reader or payment processor that you've integrated. I think right now it's Zetto, Stripe, and Square.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can we see invoices for items not purchased on NexKiosk? I think we covered that in the demo, right?
We did cover it. So you can absolutely do that. You do have to change the setting on the admin side. So in admin, under the settings, there's a little option called companion modes. If you go to NexKiosk, you should see an option there that allows you to enable invoices for created by the system, which will show all invoices created, not just those created in NexKiosk.
Awesome. Can members use credits to make purchases on NexKiosk?
So, um, yes, if the customer is purchasing right there and then and paying by card, then that isn't going to be possible. But if you're charging the product or the items purchased to their account, then any credit they have that's valid to pay that product would be used as it would if they purchased through the members portal or the Passport app.
Got it. This is an interesting question. Are hourly cafe staff able to use the system to log their hours?
So it doesn't support the logging of hours for the staff members. At the moment, it is purely a POS. So unfortunately, that's not something we do at the moment, but we're happy to take that feedback and take a look further down the road as well.
Awesome. From Kiosk as a guest, is there an option to send an email receipt?
So from the guest side, what is effectively happening is in order to provide the guests a sale experience, Nexudus creates a account to drop all those invoices and purchases in. So you are able to access that invoice and potentially send it to the customer. At the moment, you're not able to email that invoice directly from the tablet. But again, that's feedback that we can look at as well.
Thank you. Can you restate the pricing in dollars? Yeah, so the price is the same in dollars, pounds, and euro. So it would be $125 for one location, and then $25 for each additional location. So 150 for two, 175 for three, etc. Let's see. Is there a cash check option in Quick Sale?
So there is not a cash or quick or sorry, cash or check option. What we do have is the manual payment that you can set up. Um, Again, the likelihood of you using that in a self-service scenario is slightly different because the user is actually completing the purchase. So they would have to manually provide a form of payment. So in that sense, it doesn't really line up with the use case we envision for a kiosk itself. I would suggest kind of looking at the POS as a better alternative for those kind of use cases, because if you're using a payment, then you do require some sort of staff member to be able to validate that they're paying the right amount, that they're providing a check, and so on.
Yeah, makes sense. Lots of questions. Wow, loving this engagement. If we take payment for an existing invoice, will we cover the transaction fee for this?
So that depends on the fees that the payment provider has. Unlike paying directly through one of the payment processors set up in Nexudus, there isn't a flat fee associated with, or the fee associated with the transaction on the processor. So it's whatever charges are basically from your processor, not from Nexudus itself.
Unless I missed this, can we use NexKiosk as a point of sale to charge for resources as a line item?
So I think for that, I would probably suggest having a conversation and emailing us in support. The reason for that is it does step away from the envision use cases. There might be a workaround where you could potentially create a line item for the different resources. But again, there's a lot of considerations there. So I would probably say we need to look at that a little bit more closely, walk you through the potential benefits and considerations to see whether or not that's a good use case for this app.
Got it. And of course, if they had an invoice already due for a resource or a booking, they could pay that through
Correct. So
NexKiosk.
you could potentially have it so that you launch that invoice directly from the admin, bring it up on the tablet, and complete the payment through the card processor.
Got it. I think, did we get to all of the questions? I think so. Um, can we take payment through NexKiosk at a later time, i.e. process the purchase, invoice it, and then at a later date take payment? So I think we already covered that through the demo, didn't we? Yeah, you definitely can do that.
Yeah, so as long as you're charging it to the account, it would be essentially paid at a later date.
Got it. All right, some amazing questions there. Thank you, everyone. That just about wraps up things for today's webinar on NexKiosk. Thank you all so much for your time today. We hope that you found it useful and that you have a better understanding of the app. As a reminder, the webinar has been recorded, so you will be able to watch it back on YouTube and fast forward through all the annoying bits with me and them. If you run into any issues or you have any questions about today's webinar, you can email us at support@nexudus.com and we will be happy to assist. If you have any feedback once you get started with that free trial, please email us at product@nexudus.com. Our product team are the absolute best and they would love to hear your feedback. So that's it, folks. Wishing you all an amazing rest of your day. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.